Hello and welcome to NinjaBill Live. Sorry about that technical difficulty right there at the beginning. Once again, I apologize. So I'm here to talk Fallout. Um, I just watched the series, and I know nobody's probably joining me right now. This is not going to be spoiler free. I'm going to talk about what I've seen, what I thought was right, what I thought was wrong. But before all that, I just want to say that I've recently lost a large part of my collection, and I don't really, I can't really go into more detail than that right now. But I'm still dealing with it. It was theft. I'll say that much, and I can't really get more into that because I've been asked not to on social media. Um, anyway, moving on. So last night I watched the Fallout series, and as a Fallout gamer, I was really looking forward to the series. Give me a moment here. Let me type in hello for anyone who wants to join. There you go. And so I, I really just I, okay. So let's begin with the games, right? So I played Fallout 4 for a while now, and it's the only Fallout game. No, I take that back. I played New Vegas a little bit, but Fallout 4 was what really drew me into the Fallout universe. So I'm really just really excited to see this series happen. Uh, um, I loved I loved the gameplay in Fallout 4. The storyline it had a lot of plot holes in it, but it made sense here and there for the most part. I should say it made sense, but again, it had a lot like Fallout 4. All right, so you had to choose between these factions. You know, so you had to choose between the Institute, the Minutemen, and the Brotherhood of Steel, right? So and the Railroad. So the four main factions that the Vault Dweller could join and do their missions in, and it was fun. None the Minuteman was probably the most perfect of all those. If you want a good ending, for the Commonwealth, there in Boston. Uh, um, so uh, if you're not familiar, so the Commonwealth, there is a series. There's 13 Commonwealths in this storyline in the Fallout universe. The United States was reorganized. It's still the United States of America, but it was reorganized into 13 Commonwealths, right? Rather than just all the separate states, it was reorganized. So separate states now fall under a Commonwealth, and there's 13 of them. And if you watch the new show, you'll see the American flag. It has a circle in the middle of it with 13 stars, right, and then one big star in the middle. That the 14th one represents the entirety of the United States in that timeline. Um, and by the way, the show takes place something like 6 years after the events of Fallout 4, so 2281 or something like that. I'm not really sure, but so I know it takes place about 6 years after the events of Fallout 4. So, um, you'd be surprised to learn that that calendar day isn't actually that weird. Because it looks like it's from set in the 40s and the 50s, right? In that timeline. But believe it or not, there are places in the world today where that is not actually that far off from their own calendars. We have our standard calendar, but there are countries out there who are already into the 2240s right now. I mean, so that's not even a little bit joking. It actually exists. It's weird, but it's true. Google it yourselves out there. Trust me, it's true. What calendar year or country's in, something like that. But that's me, by the way, there in the thumbnail image in my Shinobi Fuku. That's actually me. Shinobi Fuku is, of course, the ninja, outfit there, ninja uniform. So, Anyway, back to the show. So, or the games. So, you had to follow these factions. I like the Brotherhood of Steel. I don't like everything they represent. It's kind of it's, it's an iffy thing. I mean, it's well, you'll have to experience the games yourself. If you have not played one, go ahead and go, you know, buy one, download it, and check it out. Buy it legally, by the way. Don't use a pirate version. I'm not suggesting you do either. So make sure go purchase it. Um, I got I got mine from Steam, so I'm not sponsored by Steam in any way. So um, anyway, so you go check that out, and in there, everybody has their favorite factions to play. The Institute is, in my opinion, the ultimate bad guy. Uh, um, who thinks they're doing the right thing. Same with the Brotherhood. The Brotherhood are good guys who do some shady things, like if it ain't human, they want to eradicate it. They want all the technology for themselves. Whereas the Institute, they're just a bad guy. They want to wipe out all of humanity and as the quote, their quote unquote says, mankind redefined. When they built these androids, as they call them in the game, the synths, synthetic humans, and they replace people, in secret and replace them, so people can't even trust their own families in the game. They might be a synth uh, um, in disguise. They're robots in disguise. See what I did there? Um, anyway, so you play these games, and there's a game sort of like it's a mod DLC that's dropping towards the end of this month. It's Fallout London, and I know a lot of fans like myself are absolutely rabid for this. I mean, because every Fallout game that we've had has taken place in the USA, so it's nice to see how the rest of the world handled the war that happened in that universe, and um, it's going to be fun. I'm really looking forward. I have to reorganize my mods and whatnot, so I have enough space for it. Uh, um, that's okay. I mean, I've been meaning to get rid of excess mods anyway that I don't use much anymore. And of course, you can build settlements. You guys have seen. I've posted 2. I've got about 32 of those videos left to do to post. That's going to be unfortunately, that's going to be my content. I've got a lot to review right now. It still depresses me that my collection got. I don't want to talk about it. Anyway, check out my new bling. Yeah, look at that. And it's reversible, so if I want Autobots, I can have the Autobot side, or I can have the Decepticon side. Check that out. Yeah. My new bling. Yeah, I dig it. Anyway, so which and I play that a lot, and you're going to be seeing those videos, and I hope everybody at least gives them a watch. It might not be your thing, because this channel primarily does toy reviews. So gaming is something I'm not accustomed to and not quite set up for on my channel. You guys can tell if you watch the others. I have to record audio separately from the video because my laptop apparently doesn't like what I'm doing there. So, recording the audio. Well, I can record audio with the video at the same time. It's just that the audio is really bad. I mean, really bad. What up, Belucius? Deceptorag. Yeah. That's it right there. I should be joining you guys later in your show if I time this right. 10 minutes after 1, but if I time this right, Deceptorag. Or like I said, I can have Autobots too. So just depends. I'm feeling Decepticon-ish though. So there you go. So I'm really looking forward. Really looking forward when that DLC mod drops. Fallout London. I'm really looking forward to that because as much as I love the Fallout games, we Fallout fans have always wondered what happened outside the U.S. because not all of them, built vault, didn't have Vault-Tec vaults in there, so no vault dwellers, so it'll be interesting to see, what's what. Um, I love the idea, which again leads me into the series. Again, this is not going to be spoiler free, folks. It's just not. So the series takes place roughly 7 years after the events of Fallout 4, or the year Fallout 4 is set in. And basically, the titular character, Lucy, well, let's start with the first episode. It had so much, right away, where it starts off, and normal everyday, life for people, and, eventually, we get to the part where, it shows inside the vault after the bombs dropped. And I gotta tell you, man, even the wallpapers inside the residential areas, because in the game, the residential areas are different. The walls and metalwork and even the wallpapers have different patterns and colors. You've got the red for the engineering areas, you've got the blue for the residential areas, you got the green, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, it was really, really nice to see those details brought to life in this series. I mean, it looked like it just popped right out of the game, that vault did. Not so sure about the mailboxes outside the residential, the apartments, quote unquote. That's what I'm going to call them, apartments. But that was weird, seeing the furniture outside there. That was kind of weird because, if you played Fallout 4, you got to go in Vault 81, and they didn't have that kind of thing. They had benches and so forth outside the residential area, but I guess each vault was built differently. So I can see that happening. There was a lot of nods to the games too, like the type of television you saw in there looked like it came directly from the game. Saw bobbleheads in it. The music, it just popped right out of the game into the screen there, and that was really, really nice. And Lucy is the daughter of the current overseer. An overseer, if you've never played the games, in the vault is the manager, the president, for lack of a better term, prime minister, whatever you want to call him. That's what the overseer is, right? And the vaults are, for the most part, there's some that are control groups, but for the most part, Vault-Tec is an evil bastard. All right, because they ran horrible, tremendously god awful, horrible experiments on the vault dwellers. Like in one case, in one case, I think it was like Vault 95. I think they, only let in children, and then ran tests on trying to make them into a super soldier. They ran some really sick experiments, and you get to see a little bit of that in the series as well. Just ran some, just evil, sick experiments on people. In one case, they built an entire vault, and only put one person in there, and then stuffed it with dolls, and he was literally the only person in there. And in another, it was it was a vault full of women and one guy. Hey, that's hey, one of those hey, every guy's dream. You just 200 women all to themselves or something like that. But no, it was. Oh, and they did reverse one woman with 150 guys in there, and the vaults did some sick, twisted things to people. Number one, they purposely made it so the doors didn't close, so all the radiation would seep in, and things of that. Or in one case, they separated the vaults out for rich people would get anything and everything they desired. And another section where the general populace would be. They had to, they didn't even have rooms to stay in. They all had to sleep in hallways together and barely got any food. So they had to, fight to survive. Well, because they wanted to see, what would play out. That's the type that the Vault-Tec organization is. That they're just, and in that universe, we find out, through several stories within the games and in the television series that, yeah, Vault-Tec started the war. They started it. All right. They ended the war too. It was the bombs dropped because Vault-Tec wanted the bombs to drop. And in one case, and you can see in one of the games where there's an unexploded nuke, and people actually formed a city around it, and Vault-Tec's logo is on the nuclear bomb. It's right there. I mean, so it's pretty obvious who dropped the bombs in this universe. Who dropped the bombs? It was Vault-Tec, right? They started it. So anyway, onto the series. There were some things that I thought were kind of lore breaking, like the gulpers. You're not familiar with them, but apparently were originated by Vault-Tec experiments. But see, like in Fallout 4, gulpers exist already in the Far Harbor DLC. You can find them, in the game there. They already exist, and they don't really look like they do in the series. As a matter of fact, I think I prefer the game's gulpers over the live action one. With CG, they could have, or even pulled it directly from the game, game files, those characters. I think they could have did that. But, there's other characters. We got to see a Deathclaw skull, but no Deathclaws in the series. We did get to see Yagwai in there, which was pretty cool. Pretty early on in the series, we got to see Yagwai. I watched the whole thing last night. I binge watched the whole thing last night. Pardon me a moment. I got to take a drink. So we saw that. We saw Brotherhood of Steel, man. At least this faction of the Brotherhood of Steel. There are several factions of it, by the by. We get to see one of the MC from the Brotherhood of Steel. MC meaning main character. He is a bit of a it's kind of a scheming, double-crossing bastard. But he knows better, and he still does these things anyway. I mean, it's not until he meets Lucy that he starts to change his outlook and whatnot. So it's weird. It's really weird. So so continuing the Brotherhood of Steel theme, this Brotherhood faction, this is set in LA, by the by, is kind of ragged. At the same time, organized, but ragged. And this Brotherhood of Steel, it seems like, the entire faction is everybody's sort of for themselves, but at the same time for the Brotherhood, type of thing. And, it's like what happens if the Brotherhood of Steel, turned, into Raiders almost. I didn't like that. And although they show an airship there, it's never named in the series. It's never named. It's there. It's not the Pridwind, because again, this is set 6 years after the events of Fallout 4, right? So in the events of Fallout 4, the Pridwind is this massive airship, right? And depending on your gameplay and what faction you chose, that airship either gets blown up or it still exists. So depending, and that airship was apparently in the game. They said it was one of a kind, one of one. All right. So suddenly here in the series, 6 years later, there's another one. maybe they built another one in that time, and they flew it all the way from the capital wasteland all the way to there to L.A. That it kind of it's a mystery to me how that played out, because it I think they threw it into for an awe factor, but it doesn't make sense lore wise. Why is there another ship with this seemingly smaller faction of the Brotherhood than exists in the Capital Wasteland? Because in Capital Wasteland, that's it's the Brotherhood is a much larger faction, and that's how they built that airship, because they have that potential, they have the supplies, they have the materials to do that. So did they build a second ship and then send it to their West Coast brethren? How did that play out? I don't know. It's not discussed. It's not hinted on. Other than seeing the airship, a few times within the series, there's no interaction on board. There's none. So that was disappointing to me. It's not really named that I saw. So that was kind of disappointing. I like the power armor designs. They use T60 power armor. It's a type of mech suit in-game mech suits. They're mech suits that people pilot, and you as player can pilot them as well. And there's different kinds. There's like 4 different, like a T45, T60. There's a X. TX series or whatever it is. I forget at the moment. But so you get several and they're all customizable in game. But these were somewhere between. They called them T60s. So we'll go with that. They kind of look like T45s to me. I'm just saying. And like the whole faceplate popping up, separately from the helmet, that's a new thing. That didn't happen in any of the games. That's a new thing. So, but otherwise, it was pretty good, pretty detailed. There was a lot of detail. The settlement, that Philly settlement, man, I'll tell you what, man, that was, and it actually exists. It actually exists. If you watch some of the larger, gaming channels, several of the YouTubers there got invited to Philly there and hang out and have a party and whatnot, and you can find those channels separately yourselves. I watched like Oxhorn and Epic Nate. Epic Nate is one of my favorite channels to watch for game lore, Fallout, Skyrim, Elder Scrolls and stuff. So I watch a lot of his stuff. So I was fairly pleased to see how much detail, and I gotta tell you, man, as a vault dweller, she got a rude awakening real quick out in the world. I mean, she says to herself, it's like everything out here is trying to kill me, or and it felt you really felt that. That Ella did that's the actress who plays Lucy. She did an amazing job. She really did. She did an amazing job. I was really impressed with her skills there. She made it believable. It would have been kind of nice to see some that stuff going on inside, her use, because although she did have a Pip-Boy and she did utilize it throughout the series, there was no, that scenes or anything. I thought that would have been a nice, plug, bit of fan service to us, but I understand why it isn't. I understand. I don't know. It was really, 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 really cool. I guess in the ending, it wasn't an ending, so they can continue the series, and I like. How can I put this? I like the direction they took in the show. I really, really do. They spent a lot of time and energy making sure you understood where these characters, are coming from, their backstories. They actually have a backstory to each main character. You have 3 main characters. and some others as well, but you really got to know these characters, and you genuinely feel, emotion in the interactions with these characters and others on screen. It was impressive. I liked it. So I suggest everybody go watch it. I also suggest you guys all go check out the game. This was not going to be a long show. I have a show with Belucius, who was in chat there, and Chris, Ugly Wretch, and Phoenix later today. Also, Ultra Mega Tronus is interviewing New York Hunter. So make sure you check that out. That's later today, I think around, depending on your time zone, 8, 7, 8, 9 p.m. Depending on your time zone, make sure you check that out. This was never going to be a long one. Again, it was just me wanting to talk about, what I liked about the series. And I got to tell you, I did like it. I like the sets. I like the feel. I like the acting. The music was on point. I mean, it was right out of a Fallout. Any Fallout game, you pick one. The music, the music was on point. I mean, it's just, yeah. Even like at one point, one of the lesser main characters. If that's right. Description. One more, please. As he's walking along, you can hear the music that they use for the Minutemen, for Radio Freedom stuff in Fallout 4. So that was great. I was like, yeah, that's a nice little nod. There was several nods. The scenery, and it brought to life the scale of the Fallout universe. I mean, how vast things are. And once again, if you played Fallout 4, or if you've not already, any of the Fallout games, I suggest you go check them out. Fallout 4 is my favorite. 76, I don't know. It's a hit or miss with me. And so I suggest you go check those out. And one of them, like Fallout 4 is, first person shooter role playing game, and builder, because you can build settlements. You can build settlements. You can design those settlements and be accessible or as terrible as you want. You can have raider settlements. You can even have the Brotherhood of Steel. Sort of quote unquote, raid settlements. They don't raid so much as force the settlers to, give them what they want. Again, like I said, the Brotherhood of Steel faction is not a good faction. I mean, quote unquote good faction. There's sort of a grayish area there. That's, I understand there's a lot of Brotherhood of Steel fans out there, and I totally get it. But in Fallout 4, they're more under Elder Max, and they're more of a gray, rather than good or evil. They're sort of in the middle. I mean, they'll do good things, but they also they'll do terrible things too. Like the shopkeeper there on the Pridwin will ask you to incentivize people to give them supplies. Quote unquote incentivize. It's not very gentle about when they want something. Anyway, that's really it for about the show. I didn't want it to be more than 30 minutes because, again, I have a show later with guys, and I suggest you come check us out there. Anyone who watches this, and then go check us out, whether you actually catch us live or later on. I suggest you go check that out. It's on Ugly Wretch's channel. I highly suggest you go check that out. Join us there. And I think that's going to be it. And, man, thanks for everyone who comes by. Thanks for Belucius joining me in the chat. I'll see you in a little while, a few hours maybe. And beyond that, be good to each other. Thanks for watching. And I am out of here. Thanks so much. I really appreciate you all. I do. I really appreciate my Patreon members. Really appreciate everyone who stops by, who gives my channel a watch, gives my videos a watch. Make sure you like all that stuff. Subscribe, all that good stuff. So later.